Blue Box is a show that started last year, and I didn't really know where it will go. I thought it would be interesting to see a show juggle both romance and sports aspects, both at the same time, and seeing them, weaving them together in ways to make it more curious. But to be completely honest, I wasn't sure where it was headed, whether I'd like it or not. And considering the fact that I finished it, well, I think it's safe to say I really enjoyed it. With that being said, I'd like to expand on my reasons why, and hopefully you can also let me know if you've enjoyed it or not. And for those who haven't seen it, I suggest you go watch it and let me know your thoughts on it down below. Okay, that's out of the way. Now let's get into Blue Box. There is something weird about this anime. Time and time again, we see stories going against the grain, making their own paths and creating new tropes. And I've been seeing stories drawn from our own reality are the stories we hold on high regard. And Blue Box, instead of it being just an anime, to me it feels like a page off of a book or a novel depicting romance based on actual people and was later mixed with anime aspects, and voila, this show was created. And for some reason, it doesn't feel out of place in the realm of anime. It fits and it shines. It feels like real teenagers with real ways of seeing love and seeing real issues they face while being reincarnated into anime. I don't know. Blue Box is a story evolving around Inomata Taiki, a scholar who loves to play badminton, and seeing him fall in love with this girl who is a year older than him, Kano Chinatsu, who is on the all-girls basketball team, and basically seeing these two worlds collide with one another as 1, 2, 3, parents know each other, 1, 2, 3, she now lives with us. And so Taiki has to contain himself as he gets to see his crush both home and at school, which with my anime knowledge, that's a lot of such opportunities. But no, instead we get this brewing friendship between these two, seeing them actually inspire one another in more ways than one. Reasons for them being a perfect match erupting, and just wholesomeness filled with sweat and tears. And that's basically me summarizing the story. But it is more than that. Comedy, romance with sports aspects within, focusing both on the romance and the sports the main characters take part in. I'd say this show has 3 main characters and the rest are a supporting cast that acts as a source of different perspective outside this world of these 3 characters, which is helpful in more ways than one. The characters are so compelling to see. We have Taiki, ambition-driven boy who can recognize his strengths and weaknesses. Chinatsu, a girl that tries her best to be at her best and a kindred spirit. Then we have Hina, a bubbly comedic girl who is also determined in her own right and also happens to be Taiki's best friend. These trifecta of characters are all single-handedly driven by something, a specific goal or dream they are working towards, and it makes for an interesting dynamic considering how different they are, and the show makes sure these sports aspects of them aren't left unattended and integrate their storylines in a way that is not out of place. Chinatsu and Taiki have this dynamic of inspiring one another. Taiki was determined initially because of the way he saw how Chinatsu was determined to a goal, arriving earlier than anyone else to practice, pushing him to do the same and try arriving earlier instead. Them living at the same house, and as they get closer, they continue to inspire one another, being the other's pillar to lean on and someone to pick you back up when you fall apart, as both of them understand very well what are they striving for and what it takes to get there, and it is such an adorable dynamic to have. Apart from the love thing, they actually make decent friends, and even so, them staying friends doesn't feel like a more possible end compared to the opposite. They essentially complete one another in a sense, and you feel that through their interactions as the episodes progress. One of the themes Blue Box excels at to me is the concept of failure. Since this show was sports based in a have since, I think I was under the illusion we would follow how most anime do it, and that is fail today, win tomorrow, or a similar premise. But in this show, it is much more real than that. It shows aspects of you can train against your classmates at school and basically be the undisputed number one there. But then you have a between school competition and you realize the bar you were working under was too low. Hard work and dedication doesn't exactly reward you in a sense. Sure, it is a step towards it, but it doesn't mean you are deserving just because you did what your competitors did as well, but just more of it. It still showcases the character working, training, practicing, all the English words fit in that description. And you have faith in them like they have faith in themselves, only to get into the game and unfortunately not secure the win. That exact feeling the character gets. You feel like you are with them, and that's what I appreciate about the show. We see them lose morale, get inspired again, and work towards their goal. And when they finally get that win, you recognize the progress it took for them to finally get there, and you can't help but feel proud of them because of it. And this failure sort of theme can also be applied to the romance aspects of it as well. It is almost infuriating at how well written the characters are. You sometimes wish they cave into a certain trope or act convenient to you as a viewer, as some other shows would do. But you don't have that essentially. Everything the characters do is coded into their character DNA, sorta, and it is nearly frustrating sometimes to see them as characters make sense. Taiki and Hina are the recipients of this unjust feeling from me, and not to say Chinatsu isn't well written, cause that's far from it, but these two characters are able to bring out emotions from me that I underestimated the show wouldn't live up to, and I love it for that. Hina's arc, which is basically the second core, essentially is what makes the show, if anything. And throughout the stories I have seen so far, Hina is one of the best depictions of the losing heroine. Hina is the most compelling slash interesting character in Blue Box, and it is not even close. The way she was written was so good. All the way from like when you realize you have developed feelings for your best friend, the process of it, where it isn't just a switch, but a mist just waiting to be clear, and the progress of you finding specific reasons and traits to justify these feelings that you have, realizing the selfishness and the possessiveness you have within yourself towards this person, resulting from the love you feel for them, and her being brave enough to take action and just blurt it out. Even when you know very well this friend that you fell in love with, by doing this, it's a risk that may end with you either being with a potential soulmate or losing both a lover and a friend. And there's usually no in-betweens after that. It's a tough gamble you have to take regardless. Blue Box is able to portray the theme of us as humans in a way, loving a bit of uncertainty, because then you can make up or imagine a more hopeful and beautiful outcome, or the illusion of that outcome, even if chances are the harsh truth has an overarching percentage. Even when you expect it, the pins and needles, there's this tiny bits of hope. This isn't how this will go, and when that is crushed, that makes it hurt even more than it would have otherwise. Hina was sort of used as a display tab for these themes, and a part of me that sees Hina as a potential person instead of a fictional character wishes someone else went through what she did. But it was a necessary evil, sorta, that the author chose, and so I emotionally hated it but couldn't help but praise it in a narrative perspective. Taiki's dilemma as a character on how to ascertain his feelings and make a decision he'd probably regret the least. Girl you like or the girl who likes you? At first, when we were in Taiki's head, I was like, harem much? Which is funny to me. The whole tea and milk analogy is hilarious, but that's not where they went with this character. This was the first time in any sort of fiction I've consumed where I have seen this specific turmoil being portrayed and made to make sense. And I know what you're thinking. I probably should read more books, but genuinely in anime, I have never seen this get touched upon. You love someone and you are pursuing them, but you've been long friends with someone else who is now pursuing you. A large part of you is like, of course, the girl I like, but there is this small voice, or maybe loud voice, deep in your ear, making it make sense to go for the one who likes you, who's been your best friend, to a point where you may feel, I may actually feel for this person, but you don't want to ruin chances for the one you're pursuing. There's usually advice going around being like, go for the one who already is in love with you and you can learn to love them afterwards. Cause Taiki is in a similar position with Hina in a sense of, by going for who you like, it's a risk that may end with you either being with a potential soulmate or losing both a lover and a friend, which is compelling writing to have. Which answer is the right one? I don't know. Don't ask me. Ask the girls on the internet. They seem to know better. But back to Taiki. I really am curious, how do we go on with the story now that the events in episode 24 has occurred? I do feel his character has a lot of growth to get, both in a literal and a fictional sense. Bro is actually a teenager who's newly introduced to this whole love thing, and he can't be faulted for some of the things he does. I think he is an interesting character overall, and I can't wait to see how he progresses in a maybe next season. This story has decent side characters, but it has shown to have potential of introducing other couples as a contrast to the main characters. I really enjoyed the introduction of these two and their way of doing things, handling the relationship while focusing on their passion. And I am curious if this ends up being a once in a lifetime kind of thing, or this is the last we see of it, which I doubt it. But I think the most important factor will be the execution of it for me, narrative wise. What does this relationship do to the story? Is it more than just a perspective? And how does it influence Taiki and Shinatsu, or even Hina for that matter? The manga or next seasons may have the answers, I feel, and I'll be waiting to see how it goes about that aspect. Which studios brought about this project and executive decisions and direction was awesome. Of course, I don't have the privilege of reading the manga prior to this adaptation, but going off of what I've witnessed, I'd say this was a great adaptation animation wise. The atmosphere of the scenes felt warm and breathtaking. I've always praised the art style of the show, especially the eye design of the characters. It has its uniqueness I haven't seen from other shows. The score, the production of it, I really loved. This was genuinely a great season and one of the standout romance shows I have seen in a while. And yeah, I cannot wait to see how it picks up from where it left off and what developments are to come from this show. Wait, I just realized I still don't know what blue box means. Anyways, let me know your thoughts on the show down below, and if you've enjoyed this video, well, you know what to do. Light up that like, click that subscribe, make sure you're notified when I drop, and yeah, that's all for today. I'll see you on the next one. Lights out.